So today I wanted to just share a story, a quick story about when I lost 40 pounds. It was during the pandemic. And you know, what I remember most is that, I mean, you know, all of us we all had our own experiences during the pandemic, I'm sure. But what I remember most, or one of the things I remember most, is that everybody was gaining weight. Everybody was talking about how they were gaining weight during the pandemic. You know, they were home and they were just eating everything, and they were gaining weight. And I remember my sister, I don't know how it started, but my sister's always been a walker. She loves to walk. And so, you know, she was like, let's go for a walk, like in the morning, you know. And so, and at the time, you know, I was staying with her. So she had to work during COVID. Like, she had to physically go into work. I was remote the whole time. Like, that whole most of that first year, I was remote. So I had more flexibility. And she didn't have to go into work as early as I have to if I had to go into my office, you know. So we had a little time to work with in the mornings. So we would get up, I think, like, I don't know, 6 o'clock or whatever. And we would walk around the neighborhood. And at first, for me, now she walks all the time, so for her it was no big deal. But for me, at first, I could only walk a block. I could only, like, walk a block, really, or you know, to the corner. Like, I just remember at first it was hard. I was like, oh, we got to turn back. And she was like, are you kidding? We're nowhere. We're only like a block away from the house. I was like, I don't care, but my legs are burning. My legs are burning right now. So we would go out there, we would walk a block. And then the next day we go back out there and we walk a block again, and maybe a couple of, you know, feet more. And then the next day, you know, walk another block, and then a few feet more than the day before. And every day, you know, it was a little more and more I could walk. Then I was at 2 blocks. And then 3 blocks. And then I could walk the full amount of, you know, what she wanted to block. And we were all over the neighborhood. And we would that was our thing. Every morning, it was summer. I remember it was around June. And we would just go walking. You know, and it was great. You know, it was great. And so I remember the day, and we would see certain neighbors that we didn't know, or, you know, and, you know, hey, how y'all doing? You know, and it was like a community. But, you know, I started doing it, and I didn't really notice it. I wasn't necessarily doing it for weight loss. I just knew, you know, with COVID, we didn't know what COVID was. I just felt like this would be something good to do. So we out there and we walking. And, you know, I did notice my clothes were, you know, starting to feel a little loose. And it felt good. It felt good, you know, every day getting out there, getting our steps in. It felt better and better every day. And I remember, you know, and I don't remember it raining a whole lot, because I'm not a big walking in the rain kind of person, but so we didn't have a lot of times where we didn't go because it rained. It just, it was sunny, or even if it was cloudy, it was doable. We could do it. So we pretty much walked from I want to say June to I think it was September, every single morning. It was just a habit that we had formed. And, we just got out there and we walked. And somewhere in September, maybe it might have been October, but I feel like it was more September. When the season first starts changing, it got cold. It got super cold one morning, and I think we had gone out there, and I was just like, nah, I'm ready to go back. It's too cold. And she was like, no, come on, let's go. And I'm like, no, it's too cold for me. I'm not gonna be out here in the freezing cold. That's what I'm not gonna do. And this was after losing, like I said, 40 pounds. And then that was the last day I walked. After that, it was a wrap. Once it got cold, I was done. And I remember it had got to the point, again, remember when I said at first I could only go a block and then another block. By the time we stopped walking, I remember my car was in the shop. So my car was in the shop, and it was somewhere. It was nearby, but walking, it was a ways. It was like a few miles away. And they called and said my car was ready. And I was like, okay, bet. And I walked from the house to the car dealer. Or it wasn't a dealer. It was, one of those places you get your car fixed or whatever. I walked. That's how, and it was like nothing. I walked this is what I do. And I was like, wow, I came a long way. I came from only being able to walk a block and having to, sit down somewhere to I'm walking. It had to be a few miles. And I had dropped 40 pounds. And I was feeling good. I was looking good. And I knew that once I stopped walking, I knew the weight was going to creep up. So I even tried, I tried to walk a little more during the day at my job, at lunchtime. I tried to still go out and, on a nice warm day, still walk. But it just wasn't the same. And then slowly but surely the weight crept back up and it was over. But I really it was a great time for me because I really, right now my mission is to lose 50 pounds by the end of March. And so I'm just thinking about that time and reflecting on it and right now, I'm good with walking. I'm not feeling like I can only walk a block and then but I'm somewhere between that, and I'm nowhere like I was back when we used to walk every day. And I want to say, because I always look back at my steps on, on my phone and see how many steps I was putting in. I was putting in, on average, not even a whole lot of steps. Like, you hear people walking 10,000 steps. I was averaging about 8,000 steps a day. 8,000 steps a day. So yeah. Whew, excuse me. But yeah, it just was a great time. And I mean, I'm not even sure how much my sister lost, or we never really discussed it. I never really said to her, I lost 40 pounds. Because sometimes you can lose weight and people they don't really notice like how much you've lost. I mean, one thing I do know, when I went back to work, like when our office opened up and we went back into the office, everybody could tell I had lost weight. Everybody. It was like I would go in the ladies' room and people that I hadn't seen in months, because they were like, wow. So anyway, I just wanted to share that story. It was such an inspiring time for me, and I remember it, and I really want to go back to that place of losing. Like I said, now I need to lose 50 pounds. So anyway, don't forget to like the channel, subscribe, and hit the notifications. God bless.